Alrighty, g'day, hello friends. It's Chat with Matt, coming to you an hour early. The date today's the 26th of April 2023. I've got to go to the airport after this and drop my kids off, who are flying down to the South Island to pick up the camper van that we abandoned there because the ferry was cancelled about a month ago, I guess it was. It was a little less maybe, but anywho, that's what they're doing, and then bringing it back. After going for a tramp and doing other boy things. Hopefully not trashing the van, but we'll see. Well, I won't see because I won't be here when they get back. We will be in Vietnam by the time they get back because we're leaving in a couple of days in the morning early. And the driveway's getting concreted tomorrow just to complicate things and to stack everything up. So busy at the moment. And so anyway, I'm not going to drop Chat with Matt. We just have to move it a little. And it will be moving a little later in the day as we broadcast from Asia, because in Asia right now it's like 3 a.m. So we won't be doing it then, nor 4 a.m. Maybe 6 a.m. might work better for that part of the world. We'll see. I'll make that decision once I am there and get the lay of the land and my sleep patterns and when it's appropriate to be doing these things. Anywho, so you have been forewarned that timings will be a little bit chaotic for the next 4 months, because after Asia we go to Europe, to Croatia, Italy and Croatia, and then back to Asia. So yeah, maybe we'll be doing it even earlier from like late in the evening from Europe. Who knows? I don't know. I really don't know. Anyways, here we are. It's Chat with Matt, half an hour or so, and I've already blown 3 minutes with my confessions to talk to you about whatever you might want to dance with. I popped on a little meme last night when I advertised this, and it says, actually I've gone too high so you can't see what it says, empowered appreciation. There's me holding the sun while doing a lunge in Bali. That is, again, took a whole heap of photos when we were in Bali at the edge of the lagoon there from Sanua on sunrise, because it's such a magical place to be, and then go for a swim. So I've still got those photos, and I made a whole heap of posters at that time. Empowered appreciation, becoming free to naturally embrace gratitude despite your history of feeling unworthy to receive. This would have been advertising a call that I did some years ago, no doubt, about developing a deeper level of, or a deeper relationship with this concept of appreciation, and overcoming a lot of issues that some of us who have been persecuted and punished in other lifetimes generally, and we've got this sort of unworthiness, undeserving vibration. Many of us potentially feel like we've been a failure on this planet for a long time, as someone who has stood up for the light in times of great darkness. It's feel like we've been on the losing side for a long time, and that can leave us feeling unworthy and not very quote-unquote successful. From a space of unworthiness, it's very hard to receive gracefully. Hey, Sister Jill. It's very hard to receive gracefully when you don't feel worthy to receive, because then when you get something, while you might feel quite touched at first, a deeper sense of wrongness then arises, and quite often what I used to feel was burdened, that now I had to pay it back because I wasn't worthy to receive it fundamentally. So now if someone has given me something or done something for me, I am now indebted to pay it back because I wasn't worthy to receive their appreciation or their gift, whatever it might have been. And so that can leave you feeling ungrateful that someone has actually done something for you, because you actually feel burdened with now a debt of responsibility to pay it back. And sometimes that feels like more trouble than not receiving at all. I went through this for decades and then of course you beat yourself up for feeling ungrateful. you then own the title of ungrateful, and that's a heavy burden to carry as well. So not only are you burdened with the idea that you now have to pay someone back, you also feel wrong for being ungrateful that they actually gave you something in the first place. What a sticky mess of entangled vibrations, all stemming from a fundamental unworthiness to receive that is left over from past experiences that you're carrying within you. So that's quite the trip, right? Unraveling that, and slowly but surely, because it's not just, like some magician comes along like Matt with his magical light language and takes that stuff away. It's a journey to reprogram your mind around this and to slowly but surely expand out of this belief that you are not worthy, or the underlying feeling that you are unworthy. The underlying feeling doesn't go away so quickly in my experience, but takes time as we slowly expand out of allowing it to be overly influential. So we still feel when someone does something nice for us, we still feel this, all of a sudden, this hit of, oh no, now I've got to pay it back. And then we can consciously choose to remember, oh, that's just what I'm releasing. That's just old stuff. I don't need to pay this back. This person's actually done something for me because they appreciate me as I am. And then we can bring in levels of gratitude around that and start to appreciate the situation, even appreciating the fact that we are now experiencing the situation with more awareness, and thus allowing us to make conscious choice about how we reframe, reperspectivize the situation that's unfolding, and we can move forward from there in a more empowered way, and thus have slowly but surely a better relationship with receiving and feeling worthy and appreciating others doing nice things for us because they appreciate us based on who we be in the world. And that's an ongoing process, right? There's layers and layers and layers to that, and many of us are progressing through that unraveling and growth. So that was the poster, and that's the sort of the teaching behind it, or teaching, sharing, I should say. I don't like to see myself as a teacher. Although I do appreciate that you might learn something by listening as I share, which is slightly different to me owning the role of teacher. Michelle wrote in ahead of time. Hi Matt, I've been wanting to ask you about dreams at this current time we are living in. I'm noticing over the past few months my dreams are intense and of a negative nature, like being cheated on, my daughter being killed, other dreams of just utter chaos and darkness. They are absolutely real, and I'm not watching them as the dreamer. I am living it all in my dream. I wake up feeling I lived another life while asleep. I'm getting so I don't want to go to sleep anymore because they leave me feeling down and in a negative mood. I used to try and analyze the dreams, but now I try to release what I experienced in the dream and the feelings that I experience when wakening. Any advice? Thank you. Well, the last admission of yours is, hey, Sister Susie, the last admission of yours is the advice. Right. So, yeah, let's start by saying, yes, I too am having very intense dreams, and many of them are of what you might consider a negative nature, unpleasant. They're unpleasant. Let's put it that way. I don't necessarily label unpleasantness as negative anymore because I can see the positive value in having an unpleasant experience in a dream that might be quote unquote disturbing for my personality self, but nevertheless I see it as a valuable experience, and therefore I choose not to label it as negative. But I get what you mean. They're definitely uncomfortable, and they are intense, and they do seem so very real, and I get the point that you feel that you are living in it. And that is because these dreams that we're having right now are in response to the vibration of the planet raising very quickly. We're all being bombarded with all sorts of energies. We've just had another burst of very intense solar activity that is flooding this planet with high vibrational photons, etc., lifting the vibration of this planet, and the Schumann resonance and everything is going through the roof. We riding on the planet are having this energy affect us, so it's basically shaking our density out of us. So these dreams that we're having is our subconscious mind purifying itself. Many of these impressions we're carrying in our subconscious mind from the past. Not necessarily the imagery that you see in your dreams is not directly imagery that you saw in a past life, but it is your subconscious mind's attempt to put images to the vibrations that you are releasing, or concerned with. So these vibrations are being shaken to the surface where the subconscious mind, or where the conscious mind tries to understand it, and you will try to understand it in your dream state. And so you'll put imagery to the vibrations that, to your best ability, the ability of the mind that you currently have, represents these vibrations to give you an opportunity to quote unquote process it. It's not very easy to relax and allow this imagery to pass through our dream state without being overly affected by it, but that is the general guidance. I'll get to that in a second, Jill. That's the general guidance, is to allow ourselves to consistently remember that what we're experiencing in our dream state is a representation of the vibrations that we are releasing as we move through this time of intense chaotic change, purging a lot of old stuff, a lot of our trauma, a lot of our pain, a lot of our fears, and a lot of the coping mechanisms that we've built around our fears and our traumas and our not good enoughs that we've experienced in the past. So it's coming up. It's coming up. A lot of frustration, a lot of failure dreams, like you're trying to do something and can't quite get it done, like you're not good enough, like you don't have capacity to achieve, to succeed. A lot of these torturous dreams of being in pain and potentially, coming to harm, or people you love coming to harm because it's happened before. And so this stuff is definitely uncomfortable to witness, and yet that is what we're being called to do, to just witness it rather than to get drawn into living it. And certainly processing it in an analytical way is not always so helpful. So the more that you can relax and trust that what you're experiencing is what you're releasing, the better off you're going to be. You can't really stop yourself in your dream from getting caught up in it. Although, as you tend to develop an awareness around your dream state over successive nights of choosing to keep remembering and repeating to yourself that what I'm feeling is what I'm releasing, it can be easier to stay more removed in the dream state and to witness it without getting overly caught up. And certainly if we keep reinforcing this relationship with our dreams, then upon wakening it is easier to expand out of the residues of the stress response that we may have induced in our sleep, right? The panic or the dread, all these different residues and vibrations that we're feeling after witnessing what our subconscious mind is playing to us. So this is the point. You're not wrong for having this experience, and you're certainly not failing in having these experiences. This is very, very normal at this stage on the planet, and the advice is to just relax and trust that you're going through a process that, while being very uncomfortable, is purposeful for you and is taking you forward into a cleaner state of energetic being, so that you can embrace the opportunities that are presenting as we move through this chaos and into a new era of time on the planet. Right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to attempt to do it here to Jill's questions. Yeah. Okay, Jill wrote, crazy few days where I was not worthy to receive mode and ended up getting gastric collapse again and intense pain, which ended me up in an ambulance to hospital. I've been allowing the panic of potentially my house sale collapsing again because I wasn't deserving of it, inviting being kicked in the guts again. On one level, I know this is nonsense and I shouldn't give energy to it. Two very kind therapy friends came over and did a dual therapy session on me to pull me back emotionally and physically. Wow, I was deserving after all. Of course you're deserving after all, Jill. You have to keep remembering that what you're feeling and what's being provoked to come to the surface, including the gastric collapse and all of the rest of it, is symptomology of what you're releasing, as we all are. And as I alluded to, the energy on this planet has been very intense post the last new moon solar eclipse, with different solar activity, etc., accentuating the astrology of this time and the vibration that we're all going in, whether it's created by astrology or whether it's a different, it doesn't really matter what's creating the vibrational experience we're all having. It is intense right now, and it is provoking huge amounts of density to be purged from the fields, plural, personal fields and collective fields. Hey, Sister Kelly. So that's the process we're in. So having these relapses, having these negative occurrences is potentially very normal and to be expected in these times. I myself have also been really dealing with a huge amount of anxiety about going away, which doesn't make so much sense, but when you're feeling what's releasing, which is anxiety around being persecuted, because that's what's happened in a lot of other lifetimes, and it's coming up now because it has to release, because I can't carry this fear of being persecuted again around. So it's all coming to the surface. And I happen to be traveling soon and going through various, authoritarian checkpoints, etc., carrying papers and documents and all the rest to, do this stuff, even though it shouldn't be a big deal. It really isn't a big deal. The mind cottons on to whatever opportunity you have to justify the anxiety or the depression or the anger or the pick an emotion that you are feeling, and prescribes or ascribes the reason. We like to reason. This mind likes to reason. So when you're feeling something, you like to have a reason for it. And in my case, I'm sort of struggling to not project what I am feeling, which is basically what I'm releasing, onto the upcoming events that are in my calendar for the next 4 months and all of the potential that could happen. And then, of course, my children being back here and me being over there, etc., right? All of this stuff going on that we like to use as a reason. So you having a house sale is being used as a potential reason that you are not feeling worthy and not, feeling strong in yourself, collapse, not being able to, hold it in. So the point is with that awareness is to consciously choose to keep reminding yourself not to make these links so tenaciously, right? To loosen up. To be compassionate with yourself and to still recognize that the experience you're having of the anxiety or of the confusion or of the whatever that's arising is a valid experience, but it's an experience of release, not a valid experience of premonition of something going wrong in your life in the near future. This is the difficulty, and it is difficult, right? Even for all of us. Me, I don't want to put myself, I shouldn't be on a pedestal, and I'm not on a pedestal, but this is the point. A lot of people probably think that I should be able to cruise through these experiences, but it is not the case. So this is the point, my friends. We're all having to be diligent in our application of choosing to relax our nervous system and reperspectivize the experiences that we're having as we move forward. There was another comment that you wrote in, so I'm going to get to that. By the way, my new cat Sumo was so caring when I was writhing around in pain and kept trying to stroke my hair with his paw as I laid in bed. Wonderful connection to this lovely being who is so new in my life. Awesome. Yes, no doubt that you have attracted another feline companion of deep history. Whatever you want to make of that connection. So yes, my friends, this is what we're dealing with. It is an intense time and it is an uncomfortable time. And the more that you can relax into trusting that it's also a very purposeful time, very useful time, very beneficial time, the better off you're going to progress through these trials and tribulations, these challenges and these discomforts. Breathe, relax, do your practices to keep relaxing your nervous system, because once your nervous system starts going into a high stress response, everything gets harder. It gets harder and harder to pull yourself back, to reperspectivize, to take your attention off the threats, as you allow the stress response to predominate in your biology. These chemicals are powerful, and it affects our minds and our senses in powerful ways. And then it gets harder and harder to pull ourselves out of it. So the earlier we can catch ourselves potentially going into a stress response and do something about it, the better off we're going to be. It can be helpful to have a routine practice, of course, and it can be helpful to use supplements to support you in that, which may include like vitamin B, magnesium, and things of that nature. That's for sure. So where was I going? I'm not sure. Well, I'm going to the airport. So, and I'm noticing my kids running around gathering things. So they're obviously not as prepared as they should be, considering we're leaving in about 15 minutes. So I might, which was going to be 5 minutes after I finish this. So I might call this closed now-ish, because I've answered the questions that are here and written in ahead of time. And potentially there's not as many people watching as normal because I'm not at my quote-unquote normal time. So much love to you all. I will be back next week from Vietnam before our retreat starts. And it probably will be a slightly different time, and I will talk to you guys then. Much love. Yes, exactly, Jill. Magnesium salts is a great way to get magnesium into your body with Epsom salt baths. And iodine is also potentially valuable to look after our thyroid and our stress response. But the best way to get iodine also is through the skin. That way you won't overdose on it if your body doesn't need more iodine. And some people have thyroids that are sensitive to iodine. So a good way to get iodine is to paint it on your skin, paint it on your belly or your inner thigh, somewhere where you don't go around looking like you've had a nasty fall off your skateboard accident. But your body will absorb the iodine through your skin as you need it. So that's another thing. It is Sonia's birthday today. I saw that, Sister Susie, on Facebook. So much love. Bye for now. Take it easy.